I'm attorney Mark Rosenfeld. I have a guest with me today, Ed Blum, which is one of the best DUI defense attorneys in Los Angeles County. He has extensive experience trying cases in court as well as handling DMV matters, and he's one of the only attorneys in Los Angeles County who does writs and does them extremely well. Good to see you, Ed.
Thank you for having me, Mark. Thank you for the compliment. Coming from you, that means a lot.
All right, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, thanks.
Good. Tell us a little bit about your background and your experience, your education and training.
Okay. Well, I went to undergraduate at Penn State University. Graduated in 1985 with a degree in the administration of criminal justice. After that, I joined the Army. I was in the Army for about 6 years. I was in the Army Infantry, where I rose to the rank of sergeant. I was stationed in Georgia and then later in Germany. After that, I got out and I went to law school and University of West Los Angeles, where I graduated in 1996. I've been practicing criminal law and DUI defense since then.
Okay, so you've been defending the Constitution and fighting for individuals' rights since 1980?
1985.
1985, right. Okay.
It's the same oath, you know, protect and uphold the Constitution you take as a soldier as you take as a lawyer.
Okay. And what do you think some of the unique challenges of being a DUI defense attorney in Los Angeles are?
Oh, the challenges, just how hard it is to get people to understand that they can fight these cases. People are so used to hearing that it's just a dead bang loser and everybody who gets caught gets convicted, and it's just not true, and it's not.
Okay. What has your experience been?
My experience has been that if you fight these cases, for the most part, sure there are cases that can't be won, but even those cases can be, the DUI damage can be ameliorated, it can be lessened by negotiating and fighting and pointing out the things that are wrong with their cases.
Well, say somebody comes into your office and says they blew into a breath machine and it came up with a number and that number is above a .08. Aren't we done?
No, that's just the beginning, because there's a lot of science behind that number. I mean, there's a belief on the law enforcement side that you blow a number and that's it, but you don't blow that at the time of driving. You blow it 45 minutes to an hour and a half later. Okay.
So what if somebody comes into your office, they say, Ed, I was stopped for a DUI, I was arrested, and I went to the police station, I blew into the machine, and it was above a .08. Aren't I done?
No, that's just the beginning. That number you blew an hour and a half after you drove has little or no bearing on what your blood alcohol content was at the time of driving. That machine that they used to take the test may have been not working properly. The officer may have not administered the test properly. There's a lot of things that you have to look into.
Okay. And are you able to settle cases without going to trial?
Yeah, I've had some good results settling cases, just identifying the problems with the prosecution case and forcing them into a settlement.
Are there different types of DUI attorneys?
Sure, there are a lot of different types of DUI attorneys.
Okay. Can you categorize them? Well, what makes one DUI attorney different than another?
Well, the experience that you bring to the table, and whether you've just charged somebody a minimum amount of money just so you can walk them through the case, or whether you're going to charge them a ton of money and pass it off to an associate, or whether you're a guy who's just going to charge them a reasonable fee and go and just fight the case for them, and is not afraid to take it to trial, who's not going to say, oh, you just got to plead guilty at the first appearance.
Are you able to get better results than some other attorneys in settling cases in court?
Yeah, I think so, because I think that what I tell my clients when they walk in is, that first day, that arraignment, that's the best their case is ever going to get. And after that, we're going to pick it apart with different things, and our case is going to get better, and the result down the road will be better.
So the government's case or the prosecution's case is as good as it gets when they start the case?
Yes.
Okay. And I want to talk to you, you recently successfully completed a trial at the Metropolitan Courthouse?
Yes.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. My client, this is a really important case for the client because he was from out of state, from Buffalo, and the problem for him is that he runs a business, and his business has a lot of clients and vendors in Canada, And if you have a DUI, it's almost impossible to travel to Canada without jumping through a bunch of hoops. And even if you jump through those hoops, they can still deny you access. And the other thing about Buffalo is it's on Lake Erie, and half of Lake Erie is in Canada, and the other half is in the United States. And so if you're on a boat, and he's a fisherman, and you cross into the Canadian part, they can expel you, which is pretty embarrassing if you're with clients or whatever.
So what did that mean for his case here?
It meant that as much as I tried to negotiate a resolution, the district attorney's office wasn't willing to go it, and he had to take it to trial because the stigma of the DUI was the worst part of it. It wasn't a matter of negotiating less jail time or less fine or less probation. It was a matter of the stigma of the actual DUI charge.
And tell us a little bit about the facts of the case.
Okay, well, he had flown in from Korea on a business trip, rented a car, and gone to his hotel in Beverly Hills. He then met a friend downtown at the LA Kings game. They had some drinks at the LA Kings game, and afterwards, because he wasn't from here, he attempted to go back to Beverly Hills to his hotel, but instead he wound up in Huntington Park. He pulled over to the side of the street, and he parked his car, and he fell asleep because he was lost. His phone was dead, and he figured that he'd have more success when he was aware and awake, and in the morning when there were people around that could help him. At about 2:45 in the morning, a police officer shook him awake and began a DUI investigation. They did the field sobriety test to him, they arrested him, and then they gave him a pass test, which is the handheld breathalyzer test at the scene of that they give you at the scene. They took him back to the station. They tried to give him the breathalyzer test there, but it didn't work. They tried twice and it didn't work. So they told him he had to take a blood test, which he did. He went to the hospital, and later he took a blood test. And this happened in November, and about a month later they tested the blood, and it came back at 0.23 blood alcohol content.
Okay. What about that breath test? Did they get a result on that?
The breath test was 0.23 also, but that was on the handheld PAS machine.
Okay. And what is a PAS machine?
PAS stands for Preliminary Alcohol Screening Device, and it's the little handheld breathalyzer that the police carry around with them in their car.
Okay. So I got to know, so with a breath test and a blood test, you took the case to trial?
Yes. I had no choice. He had to. And
you're kind of smiling. Did you enjoy taking the case to trial?
It was a lot of fun. This was like a really fun case. And the things that turned out at trial, after investigation, it turned out that the officer who administered...
I got to know, did the DA get a conviction?
They did not.
Okay, excellent. So you got a great result.
I did.
Okay. Now tell me, what were a couple of the main issues that came up during trial?
Well, the biggest issue was the time of driving. Because they couldn't establish the time of driving, they couldn't really establish the blood alcohol content at the time of driving. And my client didn't have to testify because he told all the facts I gave earlier to the police officer. He told him he was at the Kings game. He told him he left and tried to get home, that he got lost and parked and went to sleep. So, but nobody knew what time that was. So because they didn't have the time, because the blood test wasn't taken until about 4 o'clock in the morning, they didn't even have the benefit of the 3-hour presumption, which is the government's cheat to get past having to prove what the blood alcohol content was at the time of driving.
So the time of driving and the time of the test are very important in a DUI case?
Yes.
Okay, what else did you uncover in your investigation and defense of this case?
Well, the guy who gave them the PAS test, he got up there and said that he signed the PAS test out. And then I showed him the log, and I asked him, I said, so show me where you signed it out. And he couldn't do it because there was no record of him signing it out.
So when you say a PAS log, what exactly is that?
It's just the officers are required in Huntington Park to sign out the PAS when they take it out.
Is this the log that you had?
Yes, this is. And so I showed it to him, and I said, can you show me where on here it says that you signed it out on November 8th? And he pointed to this one here. And I said, well, that's 6/8/13. Isn't that June 8th? And he goes, oh, yeah. And I said, well, where's November 8th? And he couldn't find it. And so that was kind of a mess up. People expect the police to do their job properly.
Was it important to the jury?
Afterwards they said that the fact that the PAS coordinator hadn't properly kept the machine in Title 17 compliance, and the fact that the breath test when he went back to the station, and the fact that, or that didn't work, and the fact that the blood test was contaminated with post-draw fermentation, all of that added to their reasonable doubt.
And that's how you avoid a conviction?
Right.
Okay. Now, when the district attorney filed the charges, did they know that these problems existed?
I don't know whether they knew that the problems existed, but I definitely pointed them out to them beforehand. So,
okay. And they still
kept at it.
They still wanted to lose.
Right.
Okay. Did they give you any paperwork showing you what the blood test results were?
Yeah, they gave me a numeric value of the blood test, which is what the number that the computer spits out, which is, I guess the computer spits out this number, and then they write it down on the test sheet that it's 0.23. And
so on these documents here, were you able to look at this and see contamination?
no, they won't give you that initially. You have to press them, and you always have to press them really hard to get the what's called the chromatograms, which are the pictures that show the contamination.
And did you do that in this case?
I did, and I had to fight for it. And
okay, and what did you get?
I got these. These are the two tests they took, and they both show the same things. They show that this peak here, this peak is alcohol, and right next to it is a contaminant, something that's not alcohol. What I learned was that this is acetaldehyde, which is one of the products when sugar is ultimately turned into alcohol. And so it showed up in both of the tests that they ran, that there was contamination.
Who ran those tests?
It was the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department's crime lab.
Okay. And you were able to identify contamination in the samples?
Yes.
Okay. Was there anything else that the jury really looked at when analyzing the case?
That's mostly what they said.
So it was an officer credibility issue?
Right.
And then breath testing problems and blood testing problems?
Right. It's kind of like they set up that this is an infallible, unquestionable result, and at every point there was a question or somebody had messed up, and that's okay. What.
How long did this trial take?
It took 7 days.
It's a long time.
So, yeah, so that's Monday through Friday, and then Monday and Tuesday. So, okay. Yeah, and you don't get to go all day, so that's why it takes so long.
Yeah. Okay. And what did this victory in court mean for your client?
It meant the world to my client because he was going to get married this summer. He worked for his family's company. They were going to make him the CEO. Now he can travel to Canada and do business there, and they could make him the CEO. Another important thing to him was he had a charity event that he was heavily involved in, where there was a dinner at the end of this month in Canada that he had to go to, and it would be really embarrassing if he couldn't give the keynote speech because of this DUI. So all of that made him very, very happy.
It's an excellent result. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And if someone wanted to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Oh, they can give me a call at 213-479-5322.
All right. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks.